Were you talking to me? Oh,
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Magical Tea Talks Coffee 2. I'm Cindy Hernandez. I'm a licensed massage therapist, NLP practitioner, and immigrant identity coach. So I help humans from cultural backgrounds release the limitations that are placed in our subconscious mind that also affect our physical body, our spiritual beings, and just um, find more alignment within ourselves, within our body, and start healing in that form, starting with your subconscious mind, your physical body, and your spiritual and emotional well-being.
hello, everybody. My name is Valeri McLaughlin, intuitive heart healer, energy artist, and spiritual guide. I help light beings connect with their heart center magic so they can connect greater to spirit, their higher self, feeling loved, guided, and supported um, along their journey here on Earth. How you doing, Cindy?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Having a good day so far.
Yeah. Yeah, we had an early start here too. So it's
Well, I
been
didn't say I had an early start. I just said I've had a good day.
yeah. Um yeah, so you wanted to talk a little bit about your 4 hours of silence.
Yeah, I did. I did my 4 hours of silence. I actually did it Tuesday night. I wanted to I wanted to once I committed to it, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. I want to do this. I want to do it. I'm not that impulsive. That impulse usually is like um, the impulse is usually more my sister and not myself. But I felt like very called to like do it and do it right then and there. So I did the 4 hours. I did at 8 o'clock at night, and it went by so much faster than I thought it was. Um, really, really a lot faster than I expected. It was like I blinked and it was over. But it was amazing. I had so many different experiences that came up, and songs songs that were playing in my head. um, and it was really interesting. I started out sitting. I wanted to stay awake, so I figured that would be the best, but I felt my eyes did not want to stay open sitting. Right away they started closing, so I started to like felt myself like get heavy, so then I laid down. And yeah, I had moments where like there was things that were coming in. I had moments where it was complete silence. I had this song from that Great Adventure commercial back in like I don't know, 2015, 5 6 years ago, whatever it was. um and I had I could feel like I was being worked on too, and I was like, well, this wasn't really what it was meant to be. But I opened my eyes sometimes, but my eyes wanted to stay closed most of the time. But when I did open my eyes, it felt like things were moving, and not fast, like really slow, like almost like when you like slow down a film and you see like each one really slowly after, not like when it's fast where you actually see them, but it's like slowly after. And it was really interesting. And it was almost like I was slowing down time, but yet the time went by like so fast, because right before my timer went off after the 4 minutes, I heard this song go, I'm done, I'm so done. It's a new Alicia Keys song. Her new album's actually really really amazing. um, and then the alarm went off. But I was telling you afterwards, I had to look up the words of this song because I couldn't think of the words. All the just the sound kept playing over and over. And the first thing of the words is like the after it's we like to party is the name of the song. And after they go through that, it's like, I have something to tell you. I've got news for you. Gonna put some wheels in motions. Get ready because we're coming through. And then it talks about happiness being around the corner. And I was like, wow, that is like so on point and really truly amazing. And I believe it. And to me, that's a message. So it's like a message coming through from my guides, my light being saying, like, we're coming, we're giving you something else, and it's just going to be amazing. So that's what I took it. And I went to sleep pretty much right after that. But what was funny is I was so still most of the time during the whole 4 hours. When I got into bed to go to sleep, I couldn't stop moving. Couldn't stop moving whatsoever. So,
Yeah. And so we wanted to talk a little bit about how this is connected to like our willpower too. And it really is like the reason why my coach made us do this whole thing is to see if we would even do it. You know, is to see it what comes up when you say you're gonna do something, and like really if you're gonna do it. Because we can say that we want to do something, but if that willpower isn't there to say, you know, and actually do the action, then it's not going to happen. And this is the willpower is what drives us. It's what makes us do the things that we want to do
mm-hmm.
and actually stick with our words and not just say that we're gonna do something and then, you know, say maybe I should do it another time. Maybe I should. No, it's like no, we said we were gonna do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, and there's a lot to go into it. Like I'm sitting there and I'm going through it, and I am like completely still. I actually felt like I had a weighted blanket on me, and I'm like, I'm completely still. And I was like, I move around a lot. Like even when I'm sitting on the lives, I'm moving around a lot. I don't sit in stillness a lot. Like my legs get tired. Like I move. And I just remember sitting there at one point, I'm going, wow, I'm so still. I didn't realize I could be this still. It's, and I'm going, so many people believe in that they can't sit still, that they can't do it.
Mhm.
And it's like this belief we tell ourselves over and over again. Like whenever I tell somebody, start meditating, and they're like, I can't meditate. I can't shut off my mind. I can't do this. And I'm like, well, start out at baby steps, at doing, baby steps and doing small to start out with. After doing this 4 hours, I almost want to tell somebody to sit in stillness for 4 hours, because it's a different perspective.
There's
And
so much learning in it.
yeah, and it was like I was just committed to do it. And I was like, I didn't know what was going to turn out. I didn't know if I was going to sit and be able to do it. And even if I did go into like a meditated state, it was still, I devoted 4 hours to this time, and it turned out however it was meant to be.
Mhm.
So it's also like releasing the expectations of what it's supposed to look like. I spent 4 hours with myself.
Yeah. And you know what comes up a lot too is like, okay, um, we all have kids. Not all of us, actually. Never mind. A lot, some of us have kids.
I
And
don't
the
have
ones
kids.
that have kids, like the first thing that comes up is like, I can't do that. I can't take away time from my kids 4 hours. You deserve to take time away from your kids for 4 hours.
Mhm.
Because like it also teaches you so much lessons when you're in that, like that everything is going to be okay, you know, like without those 4 hours, without you being there, it's going to be okay, and everything ends up being okay all the time. And that's one of the biggest lessons, is knowing that everything is going to be okay no matter what happens. It always ends up okay. Like
Yeah.
as much as we get into our heads, but what if they call me for an emergency? Like how many times have you gotten calls in the middle of the night for emergencies? It's rare, but
Mhm.
we have that in our subconscious mind that something's going to happen, or what if this, what if that we can't shut off for 4 hours. It's just 4 hours. That's really
Yeah.
what all it is. It's 4 hours. You can do that. And and things aren't going to blow up. Like nothing's going to go chaotic. And that's one of the lessons that you learn through this is like things are going to be okay if you're away for 4 hours.
Yeah. And it was so peaceful, like so peaceful. Like even when I got done, like I didn't even want to pick up my phone and look at my phone.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't even want to put it back, the ringer back on. I wanted to keep it on silent. Like I didn't, I, if in fact, if I didn't go to bed, I probably could have sat in the silence for even longer because that's how amazing it felt. But and it's like finding it's like the time. Like I was like, I'm going to do this again. I know I'm gonna do it again. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? Maybe I will try it in the morning. And maybe I will try it. Maybe not 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe 6 o'clock in the morning, or 5 o'clock in the morning seems better than 4 o'clock in the morning. But maybe I will because the different times of day also it affects you different because there's different things going on. So when I was sitting in the silence, I live in a condo. I'm on the 10th floor and I'm in Atlantic City right next to Tropicana, and I was sitting there and I was listening because I tune into the frequencies, the different frequencies around. So like the little buzzing, if you can tune into like the little buzzing, and and I listen like it with the one ear where I hear one thing and the other ear. So I do that a lot when I meditate. But I could also hear how noisy it was all around. How many times people like threw their trash down the trash. I could hear the neighbor's TV, the people in the hallway, the police cars, the fire trucks, the horns. Like I was like not bring. I just was listening to the sounds and being present, and I was like, wow, this is so noisy. Towards the end, as I got closer to midnight, like I didn't hear the TV anymore. I was like, wow, I got to be close to midnight because I don't hear the TV. It has to be, you know, I was, I was like, wow, I mean, I might only have like another hour to do. And that, like, it really went by really fast. But doing it at a different time of day, there's different sounds going on. So if most people are asleep at 4 or 5 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, it's going to have a whole different sound and a whole different energetic vibration. So it's like, I'm going to try it again and see
Yeah.
how it turns out.
I said the same thing. At first, I was like, I don't think I'll try this again. This is like, this is like a lot for me. But now that I like think about it, I'm like, I should do that again, and I should do it often, just so that there's a lot of lessons to be learned, and
Yeah,
it's
and
good. It feels good.
it's a whole kind of getting to know yourself even more.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And
It's like getting to know you.
yeah, and the other thing, like I was doing this 15-minute meditation where I didn't move and of complete stillness, and then like talking about whatever came up afterwards. Laying on the floor, hard surface, just because it's a different experience. If you lay on the floor compared to if you lay on your bed or your couch, it's a different experience.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, I was like, well, I want to do the 15 minutes again of the stillness, but I didn't want to lay on the floor because it was so cold.
Mhm.
Because it's like freezing, and I'm like, this is like so cold. Like I don't want to lay on the floor. So I was like, well, let me feel what the difference is. So I'm laying on my couch and I'm going, well, first of all, I'm not as expansive as I was on the floor. And there's not the hard surface, so things are not lining up. So I'm not feeling the same things. And I was like, well, maybe I should move. And then all of a sudden, like, instead I start like channeling information that like came through. So I actually hit the record button and just start recording whatever was happening. And the point is, one is to, where you sit and lay also makes a difference in your meditation. And the other thing is letting go whatever expectations you have and whatever what like I'm going to sit down and do this and I want to go here and I want to, do this. Just allow it to be whatever it is.
Yeah, now that you bring that up, like expectation is one of the things too. It's like what we experienced, you won't experience. You're going to experience it your own way. So releasing the expectation that you're going to have the same outcome that I had or the same outcome that you had, it's releasing that, because we're not the same people. We're not getting the same messages.
Mhm.
We're receiving things differently. And also with the expectation, most people think like, okay, at the end of this, I'm going to feel so relieved. I'm going to be all of these things. And they expect like this, like big, amazing moment. And then when you expect that and it doesn't happen, then you're like, oh, I just wasted 4 hours of my life for nothing. Because you were
Yeah.
expecting something like magical to happen. But really the magic wasn't within all of those 4 hours. It wasn't like that big ending that you expect to have. And then that's with life. That's like one of the biggest lessons is like, stop expecting all of these things. Like, just be in that moment, and that is the magic, not what happens at the end.
Mhm. Yeah. It's so true. And anybody can do this. It's not you don't have to be at a certain spot on your spiritual journey or your healing. This is part of your healing. This
Yeah.
is part of your journey. Like, I'm here to help you in your healing process wherever I can, whether it's through having these conversations with you, and it's the same thing with you. You're here too to help, like with massage, with your NLP, but it's also in this conversation that we're having here. This is ways that we can help you. And you can start. You don't have to wait until you book an appointment with somebody that's going to help you,
Yeah.
because we're not healing you, you're healing you.
Yeah.
We're assisting you in the healing, but we're not healing you.
And it's also in that moment, like, okay, like in that moment that we're there with you. You have, this is like something that I've actually started telling my clients too. Like, they expect things to happen on that table, right? If you expect something to happen on my massage table, okay, great. I can help things move and start shifting. But what are you going to do after you get off my table? You live with yourself every single day. I'm not going to be there with you. You're not going to be there with your clients every single day. It's like they have to start learning. As humans, we have to start learning to start healing ourselves. And yes, having help is great, but every single day, they're not going to be there with us. It's every single day we have to start doing things to start shifting our health, even if it's mentally, even if it's physically, even if it's emotionally, all of those things. What are we going to start doing today to start shifting that so that we can start bringing it into our lives every single day and start healing that way?
Hmm. Yeah. And it's and there's so many little things that you can begin to do to and that's why we've been having these conversations, is to give tools for you to start doing some things on your journey. You're making an appointment, working with somebody, that's great. They help hold you accountable. We help you maybe get to areas that you weren't willing to go on your own. We help release things in your physical body, emotional body that can move you. Yesterday I had an amazing experience with a client. We did one of the ancestral healings, and we went back into 3 different timelines to help bring information. And it was different than some others that I've done before, because with this client, it was recognizing the gifts that she had in this lifetime was always in these different timelines that she's had them in, but it was releasing like these little tiny things that was holding in her, so that she could actually just bring this knowledge to her in this timeline. And some, with some people it's a deeper healing, it's a deeper, but this was to help her bring forward her gifts, her intuitive gifts, even more so, and this wisdom and knowledge. And I was just there helping facilitate this for her. She was doing
Mhm.
it all and
And I want to
healing
add to
herself.
that little piece that you said. It was like these little pieces you said that were in her timeline. And that's our life. It's like shifting the little pieces first, because that's what's going to make up the big thing. If I told you to do 5 different things today to shift your life, you're not going to do it. It's going to overwhelm you. It's going to like it's not going to work out that way, because one, you either don't have the willpower to do it, or two, like something else is gonna, like your subconscious mind's already saying, oh, no, 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 this is too much, this is overload. So rather, if I just help you shift one single thing for this week and then give you another thing to shift in the next week, that's how the magic happens. That's how your life changes. And when you do the little pieces, like
Yeah.
today, if I said to change my life, all I have to do is wake up early, then that's something that I'm going to practice every single day until I get into that mentality that I'm going to wake up early every single day. And then the next thing is like, okay, now what can I do to shift my life? And then start adding it that way. But it's the little things. It's not
Yeah.
like this big picture that you're going to change your whole life in one session.
Yeah. And we talk about willpower, the willpower. It's the willpower to take that first step.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to somebody talking about willpower, like and having the desire to do something. So you can have all the tools, and but if you don't have the desire to bring it forward, you probably aren't going to be as successful as if you have the desire to do something and maybe not have any all the tools, because that drive to move you forward is going to carry a lot further. And there, there's a little bit of balance in those things. It's not like you can have all the desire you want and be a great singer and maybe you don't have those vocals, but you can still find a ways to do it to bring you joy and ignite your passion inside. But what's interesting is you have to have that initial desire to take that first step.
Mm-hmm.
And you start with what lights you up. So if you are looking to make a change in your health, to do something to help you on your healing journey, do the first thing that lights you up. With me, when I started this journey, um, what I connected to first off that really got me going was crystals. That really took to me, and I was like, this. Was there other things that I did along the way that I didn't realize I was doing? Yeah, I did, and I can see them looking back. But like, do something. If it's working with crystals, if it's meditating, if it's going for walks, because movement, you know doing something like that is big.
Mm-hmm.
Just changing one thing. If you could change one thing today, and it's not doing like, I'm going to go out running. If you hate running, then that's a mute point.
Mm-hmm.
I hate running. If somebody said, go out today and run 10 miles and that's going to make you happy, I'm going to be like, no, it's not. But I could probably go out and, well, maybe not walk 10 miles, but I could go out and walk miles and miles and miles, and that would make me happy. So it's something that makes you happy, and not something that you feel like you're punishing yourself for because you've done bad habits in the past.
Yeah.
What you consider bad habits, because
Yeah.
I don't consider them bad habits, but what you consider them bad habits. So,
Less
maybe,
empowering habits.
maybe during this whole COVID thing, you haven't been exercising and you gained weight. And now you're like, now I got to go do this. So I'm going to run 10 miles. If that's not making you happy, then don't do it. If turning on music and dancing around your place and having a dance party makes you happy, then you do that, because that's giving you movement back. That's giving you exercise. And then you can start with other things. Because that's going to keep you going more than going out and doing something you don't like to do over and over again.
And another thing I wanted to touch up on was like, most people say, oh, I just don't have the motivation anymore for all of these things. I just don't have that like energy to do all of these things that, I should be doing or that I want to be doing. Well, one, we shouldn't do anything, we don't have to do anything. But the other thing is like, okay, if you don't have the motivation, it's just about taking that tiny step and doing something every day, and then the motivation comes. Because when you're actually working from motivation, you're actually working backwards, because sometimes we don't have the motivation. Sometimes I don't have the motivation to be a mom, but guess what, I do little steps to start being that mom that I want to be, and then the motivation comes. But it takes the little steps to start doing it. It's like when you exercise, you know at first, the first day, you're like, if you haven't exercised in a long time, the first day you're like, wow, this fucking sucks. I hate it. I don't have the motivation for it. But I committed to this and I have that willpower to exercise. So now I'm going to exercise every day. And as you do it, you start losing some weight, or you start getting toned, or things start showing up. You start getting stronger. And that's what motivates you, because you're like, yes, I want more of this. Or you get that energy back. Once you exercise, you get that energy back and you're like, yes, I want more of this. It makes me feel good. So then you start doing that, and that's how it creates that motivation.
Yeah, and it's we're talking about exercise, but this is
Everything.
everything,
Yeah,
everything,
everything.
you know, and your healing journey, your spiritual journey is so many things. It's not one thing.
Yep.
It's not one thing at all. Your whole life is a spiritual journey. Everything you do in your life is a spiritual journey. And I love Kyle Gray. I mean, I listen to Kyle Gray a lot and I follow him a lot. And one of the things that I like that he says when he starts, like when he starts if he's having this event, he starts off and he's like, pretty much goes, we are all equal. There is not one person here that is better than another. There's not one person here that more experienced that is more enlightened than another, that is more spiritual than another. We are all here. We are all equal and we're all on a journey.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. That's how he starts that's how he starts every single event. We are all equals. We are all equals. We are all on different parts of our journey, and our journey is so different for each other. And everything you do is part of your spiritual journey. So, whatever food you're eating is part of your spiritual journey. Whatever exercise, meditation, whatever music you're listening to. Let me ask you, can you listen to music that you used to listen to before?
I haven't really tried. I don't know. I haven't really tried.
I've noticed that there are certain songs that I used to listen to that I can no longer listen to anymore because I actually hear the words and I'm like, oh, I can't put these words back in my mind.
Well,
And
yeah,
there's like,
when you think about there is songs that I'm just like, nope, not listening
nope,
to that. Yeah.
yeah. And there's a lot of, there is one singer that I used to listen to back in my late 20s. I can't listen to her music anymore. It is so depressing. I was like, I can't believe I listened to this. And I can't believe how depressing it is. Like, I'm like, whoa. And it's like, wow, man. But it's like that with TV shows. Like I used to read mystery books all the times and thrillers. I can't I can't read those books anymore. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong if somebody else can, but like for
That's
me,
not your journey anymore. You know, that's
that's not part like I did that for whatever reason and I listened to it for whatever reason, but it's not part of who I am. And it's like eating, don't eat meat anymore.
yeah, I just started that journey.
Yeah, and I know that that's part of my spiritual journey. It has nothing, I mean, it does have something, but it wasn't like I started that journey because I wanted to be healthier. It wasn't that I started the journey because cruelty with animals and things like that. I reflect back on and I see those things, but I started those journeys because I was guided to by spirit to do that. And I listened. And I absolutely love it. I enjoy it every day. And and it evolves. It's constantly evolving. Even a plant-based diet is constantly evolving. It changes with the season, it changes with whatever you're growing through at the time. And you find that you might not be eating certain things that you ate before, or that you're eating more of something else, or eating less of something else, and just be in it and just allow your body to like guide you where it wants to go. Eating to me is spiritual and emotional, and it's not about willpower.
Yep.
Because you can have all the willpower you want, but if you have something that you're holding on to, um, th- you might be holding on to weight because you're holding on to that story or that emotion.
Yeah.
And it might not be weight. Like you might be somebody that doesn't gain weight because it happens both ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always say, you know, if my mom watching, she might not like this, but she went to the doctors and she gained weight. And he's like, "Oh, you really have to, lose this weight because it's going to add to your joints." And I said to her, I said, "How do you feel?" She goes, "I feel great." She goes, "My blood pressure is down. My this is down." She says, "I feel more peace." And I said, "Then what the heck is the problem?"
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Maybe right now that's what you're supposed to be." I said, "You feel great when you were less weight, your blood pressure was higher. Wow." She gained weight and her blood pressure went down. It was less. It has more than just the food and what you're eating
Yeah.
and what's going on.
Yeah.
But it's all part of your healing journey. He's like a little doll. He's like ready to go back to sleep.
Yeah. It's cold now.
I could just see like the heaviness come over. And that's the other thing. Like, you know,
As he melts.
um, we it's sleep too. Like if your body is telling you it needs rest, you should listen to it. That's part of your spiritual journey. There's nothing wrong. I heard somebody say, my kids are like, we're not taking naps. We're not little kids anymore. We're not taking naps. So what did the mom do? The mom introduced them to siestas. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
And now they take a siesta in the middle of the day. And all she did was change the word and explain it like, and so it's okay to do that. There's nothing wrong with it. Actually, there's a lot of science that says it's amazing to do and for you. It, there's so many benefits to doing it for, taking a nap in the middle of the day. And I was never one of those nappers, but I do sometimes find myself sitting and like taking some moments to myself. It's all part of your spiritual journey. It's all part of your healing. And all those things are things that you can start doing now.
Yep. One step at a time.
Yep.
All right. Well, this is our last live for the season. And
Yes.
you can catch me at cinderellaspa.com and Cinderella Spa on Instagram. And where can they find you, Val?
You can find me at Intuitive Heart Healer on Instagram, Intuitive Heart Healer on Facebook, and intuitivehearthealer.com is my website. You can check it out. And I also have a holiday special for anybody that's looking to connect with their friends and loved ones virtually and do a gallery reading and healing. So that's on my website. You can check it out. And until next year.
All right. If you guys have any questions, you could just hit our comments and then we'll be glad to answer. Have a great day, all.